Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into a massive, really exciting paradigm shift. We're talking about moving from merely avoiding disasters to intentionally designing for greatness. You know, if you look closely, you'll notice that so many of our systems, our corporate training, and even our most advanced technology are just completely obsessed with what goes wrong rather than what goes right. Well, today we're going to explore exactly why that is, and more importantly, how we can fix it. What could go wrong? Seriously, for over 3 decades, this single, relentless question has completely dominated risk management. If you look at manufacturing, aerospace, or medical devices, their entire safety foundation is built on asking that one specific question. And hey, to be fair, it's a good question. It's prevented countless defects, recalls, and safety incidents. But as we're going to see, it is only half of the equation. So here's our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll start with the limits of avoiding failure, then introduce success mode analysis. After that, we'll talk about building floors and ceilings, training humans for excellence, exploring the AI alignment tax, and finally, wrap up with integrated process excellence.
Okay, let's kick things off with Section 1, the limits of avoiding failure.
For decades, the absolute gold standard risk tool has been failure mode and effects analysis, commonly known as FMEA. It's brilliant at hunting down failure risks. It forces teams to sit down, brainstorm potential disasters, and score them on severity, occurrence, and detection, or SOD. It's heavily codified by regulatory bodies like the FDA, and it is absolutely essential for things like new product designs where you desperately need to surface those unknown risks. But here's the catch. Its entirely negative framing eventually produces this sort of check-the-box fatigue. Think about it. When you only look at failure, you're defining the floor, sure, but you are completely ignoring the ceiling.
Which brings us right into Section 2, introducing success mode analysis. So what actually happens when we flip the script? Enter success mode and effects analysis, or SMEA. It acts as a structural mirror to FMEA. Instead of severity, occurrence, and detection, SMEA asks us to look at benefit, occurrence, and measurability, BOM. How much value does a success factor deliver? How consistently does it happen? And how well can we actually measure it? We're literally flipping the orientation from what goes wrong to what does it take to go right. We take those BOM scores and feed them into a benefit priority action matrix. Basically, SMEA proactively identifies what excellence actually looks like in the real world. If a high benefit success factor just isn't happening consistently enough, or you can't measure it well, that becomes your absolute top priority for investment. It's a total game changer for team meetings. Instead of an implicit search for blame, it promotes super positive team engagement by asking, hey, what makes us great? Plus, because these success factors are measurable outcomes, they link directly to your organization's KPIs. Now, looking at them side by side, it's pretty clear they each have their own distinct superpowers and blind spots. You can't just ditch one and only use the other. FMEA is non-negotiable for safety-critical systems and catching those rare, catastrophic outliers that SMEA would honestly miss entirely. On the flip side, SMEA requires real operational data to observe actual success, which makes it absolutely perfect for optimizing mature processes where FMEA just causes that negative fatigue we talked about. Let's move into Section 3, building floors and ceilings. Okay, so here's where the magic actually happens. On existing operational processes, we sequence them. Step 1, you use FMEA to build the floor. You establish the absolute minimum acceptable performance to prevent a disaster and ensure compliance. Once that safety net is firmly in place, Step 2 is using SMEA to build the ceiling. You identify and replicate the specific success factors that elevate you from just being good to being truly great. It's that simple. Floor first, ceiling second. All right, Section 4, training humans for excellence. Think back to the last time you started a brand new job. If you're trained the strict FMEA way, meaning someone hands you an endless list of every single edge case, every don't do this, and every possible failure mode, your brain's working memory just completely shorts out. As this quote captures so perfectly, their mental model of the job becomes a literal minefield. They become hypervigilant, hesitant, and they're really just trying their absolute best not to blow anything up. And human psychology totally backs this up. A strict prevention focus, that FMEA mindset, produces intense caution and rule following. But a promotion focus, the SMEA mindset, actually produces initiative. If you give an employee explicit FMEA rules only for absolute safety, like the genuine never do this stuff, and then you use SMEA to clearly outline the top behaviors for success, you shift them to a promotion focus. They acquire skills way faster and practice repetition against a very clear standard instead of just exhausting themselves dodging endless dangers. Now for a fascinating pivot. Section 5, the AI alignment tax. Okay, so if you've played around with a modern AI chatbot recently and found it to be, I don't know, overly defensive, hesitant, or just flat out refusing perfectly safe prompts, well, you've experienced what's called the alignment tax. This is a measurable degradation in an AI's helpfulness caused by heavily avoidance-weighted training. When an AI is shaped primarily by negative constraints and refusal triggers, it acts exactly like that terrified human employee we just talked about. Its attention is so completely dominated by avoiding a minefield of failure modes that it kind of forgets how to actually be helpful.
So how on earth do AI developers actually fix this? They use the exact same floor and ceiling structure. An AI with all floor, no ceiling is perfectly safe, but honestly, pretty useless. All ceiling, no floor is super capable, but highly unreliable at the edges. The real solution is to define a small set of absolute FMEA-style safety constraints for genuine dangers, and combine that with a massive layer of positive SMEA-style behavioral specifications that show the AI exactly what a great response looks like. The result? A confident, highly capable AI that hits the target every time.
Bringing it all together in Section 6, Integrated Process Excellence.
To actually roll this out systemically, whether we're talking about machines, processes, or real people, we look to the Integrated Process Excellence, or IPE framework. This was created by visionary John Cachat. Notice how SMEA is the absolute engine driving this six-step loop. It starts by creating a positive environment, which naturally aligns with success. SMEA then becomes the primary engine to define the process in step 2, and its success factors literally fuel continuous improvement in step 6. It gives any organization a structured, repeatable way to close the gap between high-level strategy and real, on-the-ground execution.
And that brings us to the big takeaway. Ultimately, whether you're managing a complex manufacturing assembly line, training a brand new team member, or shaping the behavior of tomorrow's advanced AI, this explainer leaves you with one vital, really provocative question to answer for your own organization. Are you just avoiding failure, or are you intentionally designing for success? Take a hard look at where you need a floor and where you desperately need to build a ceiling. Thanks so much for learning with us today.